What do you think is the future of, legalization with any sort of drugs? Because I feel like there's just a groundswell that's slowly building on the fact that everybody knows the war on drugs is not working. And surely, like, that figure is that 3/4 of crime is paid for by illicit drugs. You know, I've heard people say, like, the biggest rebuttal to legalizing drugs for that reason is, well, criminals are always criminals. They'll just go to other things. Like, because Colombia, for example, you know, became the kidnap capital of the world after after Pablo Escobar's day, and so on and so forth. And, you know, criminals, you know, people that want to, you know, go outside of the law and find loopholes into making money and whatever, you know, they're going to be around.
Yeah.
But, like, we're throwing fuel on the fire of that at the moment.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that argument that, if you legalize drugs, they'll just find something else to do. I think it's a really specious argument. I don't think it stacks up at all. Because in the end, you know, people who commit crime for profit, they're not so ideologically committed to the idea of crime that they're going to do a job that's harder for them than a legal job if there's one available that offers more money.
Yeah.
It's just a simple question of economics. You know, somebody is going to supply this, you know, this multi-billion-dollar drug market. If you legalize that, you take away opportunities for profit, and eventually it will come to a point where you're like, okay, well, hang on, I may as well just get a job or, you know, whatever, because it's, you know, the opportunities are there. And also with the online drugs trade, I mean, it's getting bigger every year. We know that, you know, we actually know the scale of it way more than we actually do than the offline drugs trade, because we can see all, you know, a lot of the transactions that are taking place. And I've had people say to me, well, hang on, so you've just got, you know, bikie gangs who are moving into that. And I'm like, well, yeah, but now they're specializing in customer service and, you know, and product quality instead of going around kneecapping people. So maybe, but is that such a bad thing anyway?
Yeah, that's right. Or the bikies go to business. They go to the Silk Road or whatever the equivalent is, and if they continue their ways or they don't give a fuck and the service is poor and whatever, then
they can't compete, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so, and that's kind of, I think it's in some ways what we're seeing now with the rise of the darknet drugs trade. It is slowly transforming how drugs are retailed around the world. And it's a little bit like, I think we're kind of in a position like Myers and David Jones, you know, the big department stores were back in the 90s when legitimate online retailing started happening. People were like, nah, it's never going to take off. People are always going to want to come into a store to try, you know, no one's going to just buy this stuff online. But of course, the online retailers ended up taking over the market because they can sell directly to a customer. You bypass, you got a simpler supply chain. You know, you can supply better quality products at a cheaper price, and that's exactly what these people are doing online. So why do you need, you know, these big sort of, you know, organized crime equivalents of Myers and David Jones anymore when, you know, there's a technological alternative available?
So if we're talking online and offline drug trade, so say 1990, just to use it, you would say 100% would have been offline, right?
Yeah.
And then what about, say, 2005, which would probably be where Silk Road and so forth, maybe, I don't know, started?
2011 was
2011, okay.
So, yeah, Silk Road, it hasn't even been around 10 years.
Right, okay. So, well, let's just fast forward to now. So what percentage, I know you don't know the data on, or as much data on, the offline drug trade, but what percentage would you say, with what you know, would be sold offline and would be sold online these days? It's in Australia.
If we pick something like Australia, it would be a few percent probably. Yeah.
Online.
It would be online. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I think the latest data that we saw from the Global Drug Survey. So this is the world's biggest online drug survey. And I'd encourage any of your listeners to participate because it's they use this data for really good purposes. Of course, it's all anonymous as well. I think they said in Australia now in the last 12 months, it's about 17 or 18% of people who use illicit drugs have bought at least some of those drugs off the darknet. So, but that's not including, you know, it's not a representative sample, so you're already sampling online people. So it's not including your homeless drug user.
Yeah, that's right. You know, and it's they've bought online, not they buy all their drugs online.
Exactly. Yeah. So ballpark, kind of estimated, educated guess would be around, I'd say around 5%, something like that. But that number is getting bigger and bigger every year.
Yeah. And what do you think it will look like in 10 more years' time?
Well, yeah, it's a really interesting question. I mean, hopefully by then we've actually got a bit more movement in the legalization space. You know, we've had Canada go to full federal legalization for weed now. And as you said before, lots of parts of the states, I think roughly half the states either have medicinal or recreational cannabis. typically we follow whatever the US does, you know, in time. And if you do that, you know, even if you just legalized cannabis, you would actually, I mean, yeah, the biggest, most popularly traded category in the dark web drugs trade is cannabis. And actually, most drug arrests in this country are still for cannabis and still for possession, low-level drug possession. So most of the drug war is, and all of that
is so dumb.
All of it costs money.
Oh, man. What a waste. What a waste of time and energy.
And
money.
And money. You know, there's taxpayer dollars that could actually, And then, you throw non-violent drug offenders in prison. It costs around 100 grand to keep one person in medium security prison for a year. You know, it's about triple what you could put, for a drug rehab facility. I mean, what else you could use that money for? You can use your imagination.
That's insane.